Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Moguling Club as we present Moguling Talk, where today our topic is do not take money from investors or do not take money from everybody. And specifically, we're talking about when it comes to business, do not take money from these type of investors, okay? With that being said, my name is Michael Coleman. I am the CEO and founder of MCSLive.net. MCSLive.net is an online platform where you can host your next event. You can start selling your tickets right away at mcslive.net. Also, I am the lead fashion designer at Michael de Coleman luxury fashion and beauty brand, where we design high-end sneakers, handbags, and luggage, as well as beauty products. That's at michaeldecolemoney.com. And last but not least, I am the president at Moguling Capital, a division of mogulingfinance.com, where you can start building and improving your credit by planning installment loans with low monthly payments. Report to the credit bureaus each and every month that range from $5,000 installment loans, $10,000 installment loans, $15,000 installment loans, and $20,000 installment loans. Michael de, available at mogulingfinance.com. That's MOGULING finance.com. And I'm going to turn over to Carlo Joseph for his introduction.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm gonna make everybody laugh. Mikkel loves my part of coming to America. No, but good evening, everybody. My name is Carlo Joseph. I'm with a company called Clear Vision, Clear Path Inc. INC. And our company specializes in funding. And I don't want to sound too stale, so I'll jump right into it. What that basically means, our company provides funding for entrepreneurs and business owners, and we raise capital from private accredited investors and institutional investors. And our whole business model is predicated in our solution, and what our solution to the problem is providing funding, reliable, quick funding to people in the entertainment industry that need funding, mainly film productions, film production companies, television productions that need funding. We do stage plays as well, off Broadway and Broadway stage plays. We do live events such as concerts, tours. Also, we do entertainment technology, a lot of AI apps, video game production. I think I'm leaving out music production. And we specialize in the funding as well as the creating, as well as the P&A, which is the Princeton advertising funding, which is the marketing. And also the sales and distribution, or the distribution and sales of all entertainment content. And we'll move right along to our other funding service that we provide, and that's to the business owners and entrepreneurs. And that's real simple. We provide anywhere from $1 million to $2 billion or more to entrepreneurs that have an excellent vision. We talked about staying focused on the vision. So basically, they have the proper business structure, written business plan, executive summary, um, experienced team or excellent team, financials, pitch deck, things of that nature. And we also provide consultant service through our company to business owners and entrepreneurs, CEOs, presidents, CIOs, top level executives. And also we do the coaching, and that coaching is the same aspect. We coach CEOs. We basically coach all the top level people and help them, strategize and make the companies run more efficiently and smoothly, and make it a seamless process where they can get down the path or down the road to their vision, and basically just encourage everybody to complete their vision. And so the money is how we unify and fuel the vision and give them the drive, so they can do more, go bigger, go faster, and bring in the best people, because the key is the people. And with that being said, Mikhail, was gonna say let's get ready to rumble, but let's get ready to mogul because I'm very excited about sharing some of the things on here about the investors not to take money from and the people not to take money from. And this is very important to people that are vision driven because that's the biggest complaint and the biggest beef that a lot of the filmmakers have is that they don't want to take their content, which would be their scripts or the production stuff, to the studios because they take over creative control. And that's the difference in our company. We give full creative control. We operate more so as a LP, and we allow the entrepreneur, the business owner, to be the general partner, the GP, in a
Absolutely.
joint venture aspect. So we're more of a silent partner.
And what I want to do, Carlo, I want to get into that officially as we explain to our listeners the difference between the GP and the LP. Thank you for that amazing introduction. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, our topic is do not take money from everybody, meaning investors. What investors should you take money from? But what investors you should not take money from. So go ahead and pick it back up there, Mr. Carlo. You were just explaining the aspect of your company and sharing about the difference between general partners and limited partners. Let's go ahead and pick it up there and explain to our audience listeners the two differences, and let's talk about the points, key points to look for why you should not take money from everybody, meaning these particular investors.
I was gonna tell you a joke. I'm just gonna let it rip. Before
Go
we
ahead.
get, why are you laughing, Mikhail? See, you do that, Mikhail. You start laughing again. All right. Yeah. No. I'll just get right into it. We'll get to the GPs as a general partner. The LP is a limited partner. So 90% of all the money raised in the world is set up in this structure, and it's called a limited partnership. And then there's a limited partnership agreement. So all it is the general partner is the person that basically decides, where the money that's raised from the limited partners, how they invest, and they set up within the limited partnership. It tells how long the investment's going, how long the fund's going to be, say 10 years. What's the return to the limited partner, and then what's the return to the general partner. So it usually operates like in a 80-20 split uh, from the first percentage made. So the limited partner gets paid back first. They get a payback their money first, and then they get paid up to 8%, and then the the limited partner, and general partner split the ninth and 10%, and then after that, I'll say from the 12% return to about the 15%, it's an 80-20 split where 80% of the money goes to the limited partner, which is the investor, and 20% would go to the general partner. And then after, like, say about 20%, then they split it 50-50. 20% after 20% return, 50% would go to the limited partner, which is the investor, and 50% would go to the general partner. Then after, say, 25%, then 100% of what they make over 25% return or internal rate of return will go to the general partner. So it's different structures, but it's basically like the entrepreneur and the investor, which would be the limited partner or the business. So everything's the same structure. So that's how we do our joint ventures funding. So the person in this world, the person putting up the money doesn't have anything to say. So it's not like regular life where people that make money or pay all the bills and all, they got something to say. No, with this, the visionary, the entrepreneur, the king, whoever, the queen, whoever's the top person who's letting you in on their deal, they have all of the say. So, and you have none of the say. So, only the investor, the person with the money, only thing they can do is put the money in and sign a limited partnership agreement. That's like the Bible because it has all the terms and conditions, and then get their money back and get their return. And that's it. That's why I like it. It's called a fund structure because all the fun is where you put a pool of money into a vehicle, into a company, and the general partners and the limited partners come together, and the limited partners bring the money, and the general partners are usually the visionaries or entrepreneurs. So that's what they put the money towards what they're investing in. That's basically it. But we're getting to the real thing about not to take money from. And I'm going right down the list. This just came out. Do not take money from um I apologize, Mikhail, ahead. And I apologize to everybody listening, but I have to say it like this way for everybody to understand. Do not take money from investors that are cheap. I said cheap people. That's what my notes say. Do not take money from investors that are greedy. What it says is do not take money from greedy investors, and do not take money from stingy investors. Selfish investors or selfish people. Do not allow them to invest. And then here we go. Um, do not take money from investors that want to be employees. Basically, do not take money from investors that have the employee mindset. And the person, Mikhail, and once I read this part, I would like you to kind of expound or go into it about explaining them terms. The investor with the employee mindset
I'll
will basically try to control the vision and the visionary. And the investor with the employee mindset or the worker's mindset, they'll look at all of the cons instead of the pros. So they'll look at what can go wrong, the worst case scenario instead of the best case scenario,
yes.
and they'll look at everything from a problem standpoint, instead
Solution.
of a solution. It's the same thing they did with Steve Jobs. They got rid of him after he took Apple public because the investors and the shareholders, every time they were making money, but he was taking that money that they were making that was supposed to go to them, and he was reinvesting and expanding the company, and they disagreed with it. So you don't want to take money from investors that don't agree with the way you're going about executing the plan or executing the vision. It's called disagreement. So those people are like enemies to the vision. And Mikhail made a great point before we jumped on about the people who won't. I'll use this example. If say $250,000 is the goal and somebody puts 7,500 in, that's not a good investor. That's not going to help us reach the goal. But that investor would be the main one saying they want their money back. So we it's like college, or people pay their bills or whatever. You have to have all your tuition before you can get in there. You can't just go partial. Give them, so I give you 50 on it, then I'll give you another $35. No, they need all of it up front. See, you want like-minded investors. That's why I love the fund structure, because investors just put their money up, and that's it. They don't have no say so. You can't pick up the phone. Nope, you sign that LP, that limited partnership agreement. That's it. Well, let's go right down the list. I don't, because we on the clock. Uh, the investors view everything as a problem. I said that. And Mikhail said it's because of fear. It goes back to fear. And here's the other one. Do not take money from investors that invested into your company that wants their money right back. These the Indian givers. We can't take money from them. They're gonna mess the business up. They're gonna mess the plans up. They're gonna throw off the timing of everything. Because these are the ones that want to invest and they're testing the waters. So they're really scared. And then so that's why you have to have airtight contracts and agreements that explain to them, hey, you can't take your money out for the next 5 years or next 10 years. And once they sign it, that's it. Mikhail, you have anything you would like to add before I go down the rest of them?
And the reason why the investors should not be allowed to take their money out before that time frame is because the vision needs time to mature. It has to mature. And if the investor wants to put the money in and take it right back out, it's not going to give it enough time to mature. So I want to add that right there. You can continue, or I can pick it up right here, Carlo. So do not take money um, from an investor who wants to control your vision. You know, you're the visionary, so do not take money from an investor who wants to control your vision. They can have some type of input based on your agreement with them, but that's a red flag right there. Go ahead, Carlo. You can pick it up right there. Continue.
No, thank you, Mikhail. Yeah, the reason, and Mikhail, Remember I said the silent partners? Now people understand that. I remember one time I was somewhere, it's like silence, and I started laughing because you're trying to tell children to be quiet, right? Everybody knows children that they'll stop for about 2 seconds, then they get back rowdy. So that's how it is with investors. If you let them start talking, you have to make it from the jump. Hey, you have no say so. Now that's strange because most people have been trained and taught that whoever puts the money up runs stuff. Not in this situation. See, and that's the difference between our company and everybody else. We understand that. The person with the vision and the plan and the executor or the person that's the entrepreneur and the owner is their show. They're running it. We just paid or we just put the money behind it. And people say, well, that's stupid. No, that's just how it's done. If you want your money to grow, double and multiply. So it's just like anything else. Addition and multiplication happens with agreement. So what we're basically saying as we read through the rest of them, because some of them are pretty funny, you don't take money from anybody that doesn't agree with you or follow directions or your vision. No matter
Right.
how much money they have, they're going to be a problem.
I
And you
want to.
don't go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Bob. Go ahead. Go ahead and finish your
Yeah,
statement. Then
you
I want
don't want to take money from people who don't listen and don't follow directions. They're the worst. It doesn't matter. And let me jump in. We do not take money from criminals. I'm gonna say that one. I have to say it twice. You don't take money from criminals. You do not take money from criminals. And you do not take money from investors that have made their money from illegal activity. I don't care who it is, what color it is, what gender it is, what race it is. Um, I mean, some of that's common sense, but I'm gonna leave it out alone.
no.
And
It
you,
needs to be said though. It's very important because sometimes, you know, they don't know. Some listeners
well,
know. They
that's
think
why I said it twice. No, three
absolutely,
times.
absolutely,
Once, twice. What's that song? Three times a lady. That just made me
absolutely.
think.
I
Oh
wanted to
yeah.
give an
Go ahead.
example.
Go ahead, Mikhail. You can say what you have to say.
I want to give an example to all of our listeners that I had an investor a few years ago, and I was doing a stage production, and we were planning to do the show in Oakland, California. So we had already solidified a venue with some of our partners, but another partner came in, another investor, who wanted to change the venue, which was already set. Okay, so that investor was like, "Hey, listen, I want to add, you know, XYZ amount of money. Let's change the venue." And I was, and the vision was that, hey, listen, let's not change the venue right now because we don't need to scale that high right now. Let's stay right here at this venue. Let's go ahead and complete this show, and then come back to Oakland toward the end of the tour and move it to a bigger venue. So basically, that's an example right there. Needless to say, I allowed, not allowed, but I agreed to have that investor come in and put in that extra revenue to get this super massive uh, theater that held, I think, like 4,000 people, and because they basically stated they had the additional funds. Of course, they did. They had the additional pool, but with all the talent that we had celebrity talent. When you start looking at the business side, now your cost goes up. Okay, uh, now you got all these celebrities, costs going up, and you're allowing someone to change your vision, and it comes in and it'll mess up things basically. So that's something that I had to take accountability for. So you know what? Next time, once I set a venue for a particular location, I will not allow in any additional investors in, no matter how much revenue they got to put into it, because it's changing the vision, and it'll mess up things. So needless to say, we end up canceling that show because what? We scaled all the way up to this 4,000 seat venue, and yeah, we had 1,000 pre-sales and tickets, but that's not even at 50% capacity. So when you start doing your numbers, it's so important, So I end up pulling out the deal. So I just want to share that story with our listeners. Don't let someone change your vision because they'll mess it up.
Oh, Mikhail, can you also share with them When you said you weren't doing any more shows unless they you reached a goal because it wasn't done right. Something you said like that about,
Oh yeah,
remember that?
well, basically, like when you have investors, investors they will want you to produce, but they don't want to. Some investors they don't want to fully fund, and what I mean is that they'll put a certain amount of revenue toward your product or your vision, only to see, you know, how much is going to come back. Now, of course, that's that is important. At the same time, if they're not willing to put up all the money to make sure that the vision is executed fully, don't do it, because it's going to be a waste of your time, your energy, and you're going to see, it's going to be disappointment. You're not going to see yourself going forward, only to just be going in circles. So if it's not all the funding that you need, don't do it. Pull out of it. Just say no, no, thank you. I don't need your investment. They have to be willing to go all the way with you, or not at all. So it has to be all or nothing. So yeah. And so that's what I did. I said, hey, listen, if it's not all the ways, if it's not a full-fledged US tour, I will not do spot date shows, because you'll just be only starting to stop. And you don't want to stop. Once you start it, you want to go all the way. So hope that helps.
I was about to sing Whitney Houston song. I got nothing. No, I'm gonna stop. Yeah, all or nothing. I apologize, everybody. Mikhail's funny. So right back, and the reason why we're sharing this about not taking money from everybody, because all money's not good money, and you don't want to be controlled by people based on like dollars. This is not like politics. This is not like lobbying or whatnot. we our company supports people that have vision like 100%. And remember, Mikhail, we used the example about we paid for somebody to go to college. We paid their tuition, room, books, and all that. Now, is it our fault if they didn't graduate?
No, it's not. They have
Yeah,
to
because we
apply.
pay. Yeah, so that's the same way we approach business and entrepreneurship and the people, startups. Once we put the money up and we back them, that's it. Like we're just here to support you financially. That's it. It's on, the rest is on you guys. That's why it's very important that everybody, we align, we agree, we're unified. You know, and money is meant. You I know we're talking to some people now, just like we said last time. That's how you become wealthy, rich, and successful instantly, because it's about addition and multiplication. And the minute you get and you align in an investment or a deal that's really amazing, it's 10 times from Mikhail. So let's read the rest of them. Um, Hold on one second. Let me just read it because I remember you told me we're on the clock. Do not take money from investors who are small thinkers and low thinkers. No bottom feeders, because they're going to handicap your vision. So if the goal is $2 billion and they're happy, they're going to pull us all the way down to like 2 million or 200,000 with their thinking. So that's why you don't take money from small thinkers and low thinkers. Do not take money from investors who are not risk takers. And everybody has their own level of risk. I was on the phone with a gentleman today. He told me he wasn't a risk taker. So I just told him, I said, it's not going to work for you. And then I asked him, I said, what's the worst case scenario and what's the best case scenario? And Mikhail, we must be honest. When you're telling people and you're explaining people, you have to tell them to look at both sides. And if you can live with the worst case and you're fine with the best case scenario, then you should do it. But if you're not,
Yeah,
then don't do it. And it's the
exactly.
same thing. You got the main thing, you have to be honest with people.
Hmm.
And as long as you're honest, people say, oh, be honest and upfront. You need to keep your money. And then when they ask me why, I tell them, then they said that was mean. It wasn't mean, it was true. You're afraid to lose your money. Don't tell you to keep it. So moving right along. Do not take money from investors yeah, that's right on my point, who cannot lose their money. And Mikhail talked about that earlier about accredited investors. They have to be accredited. So the people that are accredited, they understand, like they have enough money. I think their net worth is over 1 million or over 5 million. They have enough money. So if they lose some money, they just get it back off of a write off. That's the beauty of that. They understand that. Once you
Right.
get to a certain financial level, go ahead, Mikhail.
Yeah, I want to specify: do not take money from investors who cannot afford to
Oh
lose
yeah.
their money.
No, I
You
had
know,
I was gonna say a joke, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
absolutely, they cannot afford to lose money. So if they cannot afford to say, you know what, I'm going to invest this money, and there is a chance that they may not get it back, then do not take that investment.
Yeah.
They have to willing and knowing that, hey, it is a risk. Continue, please.
Do not take money from investors who do not meet the investment financial goals. So every investment usually has a minimum or and probably a maximum amount. So the people who don't meet that standard or don't meet that goal, because I hear people say, "Oh, about standard," you just can't take it from them. That's all. It's not that personal. What we're doing is eliminating. This is the parts that most people don't see in business. These are the type of foxes or the type of things that can happen to anyone in business that will slow them off, like slow them down. It'll take them forever to take off. It'll derail them if you have people with you who don't agree. And they come with that mindset, well, I'm putting the money up, then I run stuff. No, you do not. That's why we sign contracts and agreements. It lays it right here. This is your role. That's it. So, and I know this is different, Mikhail. I can feel it because most people don't know the most successful companies was they rallied around the vision. They rallied around the visionary and they rallied around the plan, the written plan, and they agreed with the plan and they just came to support the vision. And that's why at the end or when it was completed, they all had a huge reward. That means a big payday. So I think that's it, Mikhail, so far. I think we touched on everybody. Oh no, you said something about that is an aspect of them not putting enough into the vision. Then this investment, the investors are slowing you down. Basically, you're saying the investors are holding you back when they don't meet the standard and minimum amount. Then they're slowing everything down because everybody knows this. The more money you have, and the people that write their use of funds, they have it down to the penny or to the exact dollar amount of what they need to reach their target. Sort of like I don't know if anybody plays darts. We might not have no people that go to bars or like what's that, the bow and arrow? So that money is like an arrow. So you heard me, Mikhail?
Yes.
That so and that money it's sort of like pulling a bow back, gets you to that target.
Target.
So when people don't give the right amount or you don't meet the goal, then you're not going to get to the target. And that's all we see happening when businesses are closing. You have to have enough money for the next 10 years or 20 years. You sit down and count the cost. I said count the cost for what your expenses will be to run the business and your personal expenses. And if you have it mapped out for the next 20 years, then you get that amount day one or the next 10 years. And you'll be fine. Within 10 years, you should have it figured out by now. Definitely in 20. So,
Absolutely. And I want to add one more. Do not take money from an investor who wants to own more than 50% of your company.
oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's not about. No, and tell them the other one about the 100% who wants to own 100% of your company.
And, and there's an investor who comes in and says they want to pretty much own 100% of your company. Don't do that deal unless that's a different type of deal. That's not an investment. That's an ownership. They want to buy your company. So just be aware of someone coming in and say, "Hey, I want to invest this amount of money, but I want to own 100%." That means that if they're an investor, you won't get you'll be at 0%, and they'll be owning 100% of your company, and you'll just be back at an employee status. So just know those things right there and keep those in mind. Hope that helped. all our listeners.
Okay, and to recap everything, you want an investor that agrees. You want unity. You want agreement. And what I mean by that, just somebody that agrees. You know who's the right people because they're going to give you the exact amount that you need. It's like if you ask for somebody to give you $300,000 and they give you 30,000, that's not enough. Everybody, okay. You need 3 grand and somebody gives you $30 or 300. That's still not enough. And the person that agrees, their agreement is not only with speech and then signing the agreement, the contract investment. The agreement is them meeting the goal of that 300,000. You know what I'm saying? You guys understand, Mikhail? That's
Absolutely.
basically it. So that's how you'll know who the right investor is. You ask for an amount in writing, and then they funded it. That's it. It's just that simple. That proves they agree. All right. With that being said, Mikhail, we want to move on. So I'll let you close us out. Oh
Yes.
yeah, we want to tell everybody thank you for listening. Everybody around the world, and the people that's going to listen to this days from now, hours from now, years from now, maybe decades from now. This was put out. This is very important because don't let your friends be your downfall. Evil communication corrupts good manners. So in a more positive light, the right investor will align with your vision. They'll support it. You know what I mean? It's not your job to figure out where you're going to get the money. It's your job to figure out how much you need and how long will it take you to, turn into, positive cash flow, positive revenue. Because there's plenty of money and it's drawn, money is pulled and drawn to vision, And I keep saying that's why I named the company Clear Vision. As long as it's easy to understand and follow, you're going to get the money.
Well said.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much for that amazing and empowerment information, Carlo. And to get ready to close us out, when the right investor comes along, everything will be easy, as Carlo was stating. It'll be easy. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us today for another Moguling Club as we present the topic: Do not take money from everybody, meaning do not take money from investors who are not in alignment with your vision. So, if they're not willing to go all the way with it, don't do it. Just walk away from it and trust and believe and know that there'll be another investor come along that will be right for your vision. And as always, be relentless, keep moguling, and remember, moguling is what we do. Take care.